Hey guys, back again for another episode of my scary stories to tell. This is episode 4. Yeah, I know. Sorry guys, I know I said I was gonna come out with the next one quicker, but a lot's been going on. I caught COVID. First, I've been sick for these past couple weeks. Still having some symptoms, so I don't know if I'm completely over it yet. But yeah, and obviously, I kind of had to move some stuff around with my studio and things right now, so a little bit out of sorts, a little bit, but it's all right. Finally had some time to sit down and do an episode. So today's episode is going to be kind of an origin story, essentially. It's actually about one of like the first times I experienced anything paranormal. Um, it's actually kind of rather freaky and weird, and definitely has some kind of strange going ons in it. So, yeah, this episode is going to be called "The Creature." So, this one begins back in October 2010. I believe it was actually Halloween because I was just at home by myself, and I think, my parents had gone out, with my little brother and sister trick-or-treating, as tradition, so they'd always go out, and I was already getting old enough. I was already like 20, so I'm like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna partake this year, so I just stayed home, but I probably should have gone out. um, so what happened was, I was just there hanging out at my house. I was doing some, schoolwork on the computer or something, watching TV. And, at that point, I hadn't really believed in anything or really thought about it too much. I think at most, maybe I was watching some, like, Ghost Adventures, but I didn't really, like, take it too seriously. So while I'm sitting there on the computer, I don't know, I just get a weird feeling, and I start seeing, like things out of the corner of my eye. I see this one like shadow by the, like, kind of between the garage door and like the kitchen. Like, I keep seeing this shadow like kind of like duck its head back and forth, like if it's kind of peeking at me and like looking back, and kept doing that. And this is kind of a repetitive entity that we actually end up experiencing over the years, because I think that's one thing that kind of helped verify a lot of my stories, is that other people would see it without me really having to say anything. Back then, I didn't really say much about the stuff that I would see, Really, I'd kind of wait to see if anyone else would say they saw something similar, and that'd be kind of my verification. Because, if you kind of tend to say stuff, and then people be like, yeah, just kind of humor you, but, so I kind of just wait to see who'd say something. So, yeah, my mom would say she'd see the same thing. Some of my friends, we'd often see, if we're, in the garage, jamming out, we'd, kind of see something like if it was going in and out of the garage. So this was kind of like a little curious spirit, I would say. Maybe something residual, maybe something intelligent. It's kind of hard to say, because it would essentially repeat, and that's usually how kind of residual spirits work. So I was kind of seeing that while sitting there, and I kept seeing something like darting out towards the back door, like maybe a different spirit. So it's like, maybe my eyes are just playing tricks on me. I don't know. I was just kind of trying to ignore it. And then all of a sudden I see something jump out of me from like the side, It's like a little hunched over creature is what I would kept seeing. It would like jump out at me, and I kind of scare back and what the hell is going on. It did that like 3 times over and over again. Eventually I was like, okay, I'm going I'm going upstairs. I'm done with this night. So this creature was kind of just like, I mean, I guess I best describe it as like an imp. They're like small demons. So it was kind of like hunched over. Like, I guess kind of imagine like, the jockey from Left 4 Dead 2, for those who ever played that. That's pretty much what it looked like. More or less. I mean, maybe I was just playing too much Left 4 Dead 2 at the time. I don't know. So, fast forward maybe like a year or two later. And fast forward a year or two later, and I was staying at my brother's house. Or apartment, I should say. And there was this night that I was staying there, sleeping on the couch, and I just couldn't get to sleep, Like, I kept having this anxiety, like something was watching me. I just saw something kind of small in the corner. I thought maybe it kind of looked like a little kid, but, I kept seeing something in the corner, and I just couldn't sleep the whole night. And, so I was pretty much there until the sun came up, and my brother went to work. And I was like, all right, screw it, I'm just gonna go, lay in his bed and see if I can just get some sleep. So I'm laying there, and I'm kind of starting to fall asleep, and I start getting these like thoughts, like these crazy thoughts that just weren't mine, that seemed violent or something, but I felt like it wasn't even like from my voice, like sometimes when you picture your own voice in your head, you hear your own voice, but I kept hearing like another voice, so I'm laying there, and then I feel something like grab me around the throat. I'm sitting there, laying there for a second, I can't breathe, and then I just kind of pop up, and the door to like, and the way his room was is like the bathroom was like connected to his room, and there's like a door there, obviously a door leading out towards like the kitchen, but that door just kind of shut by itself. That door would open and shut by itself. It was creepy. But yeah, like as soon as I sat up and got out of that grasp, I heard that door shut, and I'm like, all right, that's enough for me. Alright, so that was like the first experience that I had with anything. It was like a little imp, a little demon, a little creature. I called it a creature this entire time, but I think of it, kind of like as a little, I think it was possibly like a little demon, because years later, or maybe some point after that, so yeah, that was like my first experience, back at my parents' house. That was just kind of like a real active night. I saw that creature and like 2 other spirits that night, so that was creepy as hell, and that was kind of my introduction into like the paranormal, and I just kind of became really aware after that. And then I had that other experience at my brother's. So, and I feel like that second one was the same thing, because I actually found out later on that same night that I was having that experience, unable to sleep. Apparently, my dad was telling me the story too, that my mom was sitting up, and she got like a weird, feeling, and she felt at first like someone was there, like hugging her, and said she felt like it was one of us, like one of her kids, like that mother instinct. And I imagine maybe it was me, because I was, feeling, really scared that night and just couldn't sleep. So she felt this warm embrace, but then she looks over into the corner, and she sees it. She sees the creature hunkered over in the corner, just staring at her, unmoving. And apparently, she starts yelling at it, telling it that it doesn't belong here, it's not your home. And the creature eventually dissipates into the corner, into the darkness, and my mom's left feeling freaked out. So yeah, I mean, that's, I think it's kind of all connected to this one creature, something that maybe kind of haunted my family for a bit, because there was also a later point that my parents said they brought some people over, and apparently one happened to be like a medium, and the person just started freaking out and said, it's like, oh, we need to cleanse this place immediately. I don't know if she said she saw the same thing, or she just got a really bad sense that something was around. And yeah, I kind of feel like maybe there was something attached for a while too, because obviously I felt like something followed me to my brother's apartment. Then me and my brother got our own apartment, and there's a couple happenings there. There was point where there was people there was people staying at my house. There was at my apartment at the time, and they said they saw some kind of shadow on the ceiling, like a dark shadow, while they were there. Apparently me and my brother were both asleep, and they're kind of freaking out too, because they said that they heard my brother talking on the phone for a while, and then nothing, and went quiet like he was asleep for a long time, and then they just kind of heard him talking again, talking to himself, and then they said they saw that shadow on the ceiling. And so yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like something's kind of followed us around. We got a house after that, and there was a fair amount of activity over there as well. Actually, more poltergeist activity, because I see stuff kind of flying off the walls or off shelves. So that was definitely something that might have been attached. So yeah, it's definitely, I think they did that cleansing, and there was a point where things like that kind of stopped for a while, until recently, of course. With the things I've been telling you that's been going on, it's been quiet lately. Not too much, as far as seeing anything or any other visits from the black dog. There has been some random knocks at night. Like the other night, I was laying down in the living room, and I just heard dunk, 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 3 loud taps, loud enough to freak the dogs out, because they started barking. I was kind of looking around, see if there's anyone outside or anything like that, and there's nobody. And same thing the other day. It was during the day though. I heard knocking, and again, it was kind of whenever I was falling asleep or drifting off. And I heard knocking at the front door. So that was pretty freaky. Just kind of random. But I mean, there was no one there, of course, again. So that has kind of happened a little bit, just kind of random knocks. But I haven't really seen anything as of lately. But yeah, so then it's the kind of things that kind of deal with. People think it's just ghosts or just people that have died, but it's more than that. Which some people could think that paranormal stuff is just energy that people left behind. It's nothing. It's intelligent or anything, but that's not really entirely true. Sure, there's residual energy that people leave behind, and you wouldn't even have to be dead to do that. But yeah, there are these creatures out there that they're entities, I should say, that from another world. So I kind of tried to look up a little bit more information on um, like these creatures, these imps, so to say. So I found a pretty interesting video. Can walk through real quick. So yeah, this guy Chris Fleming, who's a pretty well-known like paranormal investigator. This is something that he dealt with. I guess apparently when he was a little kid, and put a story up about it on YouTube. So let's just check it out. The music. The imps. Yeah, that's crazy. That he kind of didn't even realize until he was older. And yeah, it's kind of what around the height that I saw the creature at. It was about my height sitting down. So yeah, let's see what else this guy has to say about it. Since he was a kid. Creepy, man. Imagine being a little kid having to deal with this stuff. I was like almost 20, around 20. Oh no. Mine was a little bit hunched over. Oh yeah, I was talking about seeing that. I saw a thing on the ceiling at some point. Oh no. Something about that height, man. I didn't really get so much a good look at the face. Set up an IR camera to get motion detection to capture how many times I wake up at night. Okay, let's hear some of this. Oh no. Damn, look at that cat. That cat is just like alert as hell. Oh shit. No. It's like clearly watching whatever it is. Yeah, it's kind of like around that time where there's like that low interference. Like, right here. On the last episode, if you remember, there's a point where I hear some kind of interference like that and some noise. So it kind of reminds me of that. That cat is freaking out, man. Let's hear that noise. Fuck that, man. I'm lucky enough to never hear like a shriek or something weird like that. Oh. Seriously, even ghosts are fighting off these motherfuckers.
Are there any bad spirits in his house? How many?
Dude, just imps. Screw that, dude. Yeah, so apparently they're like the lowest form of demons, Lowest of the demons. They've had many names and many cultures, but they serve lord demons, powerful offspring of the fallen. creepy. Um, Good song title. Yes, he kind of tells a little bit about it. During my childhood, I was plagued by these little creatures. Turned in 2009. They're about 2, 3 feet tall. A beige tan color, gray light color. That's kind of, I couldn't see too many distinguishing features, but I could tell it was like, yeah, like beige or tan. Moved very fast, you know, almost reptilian like. They vanish either into shadows or turn to a black mass and travel extremely fast. Yeah, and that's, my mom just saw that creature, like vanish into the shadows. So that was that's pretty creepy. Yeah, so that's kind of what I saw. Was definitely something like that kind of like, yeah, like a beige or tan color, grayish, um, little hunched over creature. Um, I think that was the only maybe big difference is that I feel like it was more like, a haunched kind of creature. It didn't really stand up straight. It was like, um, kind of, you know bent over a little bit. Um, and apparently that's what my mom saw too. So yeah, it was like a little imp, a little mini demon. I think since, maybe since they did that cleansing with the medium, there hasn't really been anything around. I lived there a couple years ago, and I hadn't really experienced too much while I was there again. There was a night where I think, we were staying in the garage, and I kept hearing noises, like people going up and down the stairs, and I thought it was just like my brother's friends. I thought they were just hanging out with my bro and making a lot of noise, so I was like, whatever. And I go out into the living room to, go to the restroom because there's a bathroom down there, and I see someone like sitting on the couch, just by himself, and he looked kind of young, and I was like, okay, and I figured maybe they're just waiting for my little brother. And so, I go to the restroom, go back, and I hear some noises again, and then eventually I hear nothing, and I'm just like, it's real quiet. So I go back out again, and the front door is just like wide open, and no one was there. There's no sign of anyone being there. There's no cars, no nothing. And I was like, what the hell? Whenever I closed and locked the door, and I told my mom about it the next morning, like, hey, I think some of Antonio's friends left the door open, and mom was like, Antonio went to sleep early last night, and Miranda didn't have any friends over either. And she'd asked him about too if anyone came over, and he said no. He was already crashed out, getting ready for work, the next morning. So no one came by as far as anyone else knew. Um, so that was really weird, me seeing someone on the couch, hearing all these like noises. Um, so yeah, that was. I've definitely seen things and heard some things as far as like, you know, moving around or people things making noises, but I've never like that guy captured some voices and some shrieks, and I've never heard that before. Thank God. I haven't had those kind of visions. Well, I mean, I haven't had those kind of experiences for the most part. Obviously, I was just telling that story where I heard the voices, but it was like in my head. But yeah, so that is one of my stories. Like I said, it was kind of an origin story where it all started, and how it all began, and it's kind of a pretty freaky start to the experience. And I've definitely dealt with different type of entities, and I'll get into more stories on other kind of things that I've seen. Maybe on the next episode. I know I talked about having a guest on at some point, and I'm still working on some of the logistics as far as how I'm going to record it and everything, because I'm going to have to kind of up my setup a little bit. So, um, and then maybe from there I can keep having guests on. I definitely have a couple other guests in mind as far as other people that have experience in this. So I'll definitely be trying to organize that in the future for more future episodes. But yeah, so hopefully, I don't take too long again to come out with the next episode, guys. I'm definitely going to work on it. It might take some time before I get those, interviews in, but I'll definitely keep on working on just the regular episodes as far as telling my stories. But yeah, otherwise, guys, stay tuned and stay spooky, and thanks for listening.